Hi, this is Will with My Spiritual Clarity. Today's video is on being paid for my services makes me feel unsafe. Now, I'm going to be reading my notes more in this video than in other videos because I completely changed. The only thing that's the same from my actual session on this is that sentence. Everything else has changed because I wanted to protect this client's anonymity, this past client. So yeah, you'll see me reading my notes more than usual because I don't have this locked in my head from real life because I had to change a lot of the details. But the essence of it is the same. This essence of being paid for my services makes me feel unsafe. And then some of the kinds of clearings that we did together, the identifying specific limiting beliefs, the clearings that we did, and then where did this client get to by the end. So if you've been experiencing the same kind of thing that you don't feel safe to be seen for a number of reasons, but especially if it's around money, that being paid for your services doesn't feel safe, or making videos doesn't feel safe, writing your book, publishing your book doesn't feel safe, then this video is going to be very helpful. So this client said, and again, made up client, real client, but made up circumstances to fill in the details. So she said, I was working with a client. Here's my own script. I was working with a client recently who had a breakthrough. So as a child, this person was reprimanded every time that they were given money. Their dad would give them an allowance and say something like, I don't know why we do this. I had to work for every dollar I earned. This is so stupid. Even her cousins would get jealous and they would beat her up sometimes because she got this money. And she thought for a long time that this was all normal. And she also couldn't speak up about this with her dad and with her whole family. She knew that the way she was being treated was wrong, but when she tried, she just got shut down by her family. And so as she and I were talking about all this and we were uncovering some of this, she literally said, I can feel it in my throat chakra. I can feel it physically in my throat, this clamp down, this feeling shut up that I can't express, that there's something going on. So I can feel it there. And so I asked her a truth question. And with a truth question, when I'm working with a client privately, I put the word truth in front and I say it's a yes or a no. And when they answer, I can tell if they're lying to themselves or telling the truth. And lying in my work is not a bad thing. Lying's a good thing because it actually points to where we're really going. But lying, another way to say it is when there's a mismatch between what your higher self knows and what you're trying to convince yourself of. So I said truth. Telling the truth isn't safe. Wow, still energy on that. She said yes. She knew it right away. She wasn't even trying to hide on that one. She knew it was right there. So we did the clearing on that, and I'm going to offer that for you here as well, because obviously there's still a lot of energy, even though it's just me in the room. So see if you're willing to have this one shift or clear. And the answer to this question is a yes or a no, and either answer is just fine. So the belief that telling the truth isn't safe. Would you be willing, weird half yawn, would you be willing to destroy that at the point of creation? And again, it's a yes or a no. Now, when we went deeper on that, because when I asked her that question, she said, no, I'm not, no. Or I think she said yes, but I knew it was a no, and she knew it was a no. As soon as she said the yes, she knew she was trying to get it through, but it just wasn't clicking. And so we looked deeper at that, and she said something like, well, nothing, it's still the same. I still don't feel safe to speak the truth. It still doesn't feel safe. So long story short, the next part took, I think, 10, 15 minutes, but through an energetic process, I looked at how that she had this belief that nothing had really changed since she was a kid, specifically 4 years old. So I asked her that question, truth, nothing has changed since you were 4. She said, yes, that's true. That comes up as true. So I didn't offer her a clearing on that one because there was yet again a layer that was underneath that as well. And this is the kind of stuff that comes up in private sessions all the time. It starts with kind of the obvious, and then we go until we get to what's really going on. Sometimes it's only the first question that's needed or the first layer. Sometimes it goes 10 layers deep. So the part that was underneath that for her was this story that if she drops all that, if she lets go of all that, if she lets go of this belief that telling the truth isn't safe, that, and this again, long story short, but it was that she'd be alone again. This fear that she'd be alone. Because when she tried to tell the truth to her family, to her dad, they would always take distance. They would always say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." And either she'd be, sent off to her room, or they would just leave in a huff and angry, and she was left alone. So she developed this story for a good reason. And I think this is a big part that's missed in a lot of our personal development, spiritual development, limiting belief clearing work, is we forget that we develop these stories and these beliefs for a very good reason. We weren't just looking for an excuse to hide. We weren't just looking for a reason to play small. We weren't just trying to find a way to not live up to our potential. We developed these things as a coping mechanism. And as one of my mentors, Terry Real, says, and I love his language on this, and he calls it the adaptive child. And he says, always be in awe of the exquisite intelligence of that little boy or girl within you. Always appreciate it and respect it, because you did what you needed to do to survive. And that was brilliant. It was brilliant then, but no longer now. So we did the clearing and we asked the story that if you drop that belief, if you drop all of that, that you'll be alone again. The story that's true. Would you be willing to step out of that at the point of creation? And she said yes. And she had some big shifts, and she could feel the energy in her body. She could feel it all shift and move. She's an energy healer as well, and in a different capacity. And she could feel all of that. Now, the next day, I got an email from her, and it said, "Whoa, big breakthrough." And I'm going to paraphrase here, but she said, "I saw exactly what the core blocks were for me around money and receiving money," because it got even more specific. So that was all pretty specific, but then she saw even more detail about it. She was finally able to see it and get her kind of wrap her hands around it, because until then it had been this big emotional thing that was really hard to kind of put her arms around. And now she realized she was in a position to change that so that she could be safe to be seen, to speak what was true for her, and to start receiving money for her work. What I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video is that this client has been giving away a lot of free work. When it came out in the session how much free work she's been doing, I literally put my head in my hands, just, oh no, with a smile. Because at that point we were both laughing in the session. And then I asked her to just stop doing that. From today moving forward, start charging money. But what's important is you can't just, or I don't think that you can do that from nothing. You got to kind of get to the core, or to the reason, or to the bottom of why have you been holding back so much so far. Clear that, shift that, release that, and now you can start charging money. Where I find that so many clients go wrong, and why it's been so hard until now, is that they've been trying to do that by willpower. It's been the top down, like, oh, I need to charge money. And they try, and then they clam up, and they not freak out, that's the wrong way to say it, but they have a big reaction, a big trigger that comes up because they didn't have this kind of session first. So if that sounds like you, I would love to hear what has kind of clicked for you from this video. If you'd like to reach out to me for a session, I currently have an amazing offer that's on. I usually charge $150. No, I don't want to go into that right now. I'm just going to edit out that little bit. So I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Please let me know, what breakthroughs, what realizations did you have on this? And if you'd like more support, I'd really encourage you to join my email list, because I come up with this kind of content every single week to help you move forward, to go from not feeling safe to be seen to being able to be seen, to be fully you out there in the world, expressing yourself truly, so that you can charge money for your work, so that you can be seen, so that you can do more of your great work. Please do like or subscribe this video down below, leave a comment, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye for now.